Okay, let's just dive right in. I mean, think about it. We live in a world that has more pleasure, more convenience, more stuff than at any point in human history. So, why do so many of us feel like true, lasting satisfaction is just constantly out of reach? Well, in this explainer, we're going to unpack the science behind that exact feeling. And we'll uncover a surprisingly simple way to actually rewire our brains for joy. Yeah, this is the big question, right? You've totally been there. You binge a show, and the second it's over, you're looking for the next one. Or you get that package you've been waiting for, and a few hours later, you're already browsing for something else. It's this constant chase, this feeling that real contentment is just one more click, one more purchase, one more goal away. And honestly, it's exhausting. So, what is really going on inside our heads? Okay, to really get this, we've got to look at something psychologists call the satisfaction paradox. And trust me, this idea gets right to the very heart of this modern struggle we're all feeling. And yeah, this just lays it out perfectly. I mean, every single app, every service, every notification on your phone, it's all designed for instant gratification. It's like we have this giant fire hose of potential pleasure just aimed right at our faces 24/7. But instead of feeling satisfied, we often just feel kind of empty, always looking for that next hit. And that is the paradox. It points to a huge misunderstanding of how our brains are actually wired. So this brings us to the main culprit in this whole story. It's a neurochemical we've all heard of, but one that most of us completely misunderstand. Let's talk about what I like to call the dopamine deception. Right, so for years, we've all been told that dopamine is the pleasure chemical. But that's not really the whole picture. It's actually the wanting chemical. Its whole job is to motivate you, to make you chase things, to keep you scrolling and searching and striving for more. Think of it as the engine of desire, not the feeling of contentment. And when you see it laid out like this, the difference is just crystal clear. Dopamine is all about that spike and crash. It leaves you wanting more. It's the whole cycle of chasing something outside of yourself. But real satisfaction, that feeling of just sustained peace or connection, that comes from totally different chemicals, like serotonin and oxytocin. Those are all about internal fulfillment. The problem is, we're living in a world that is completely optimized for that left column, while we're all starving for what's on the right. And this right here, this explains why. Even when we get the thing dopamine was pushing us to get, the promotion, the new phone, whatever, that good feeling just doesn't last. It's a concept called the hedonic treadmill. Your baseline level of happiness doesn't really change. You just get used to the new thing, you adapt, and boom, you're right back on that treadmill looking for the next goal to chase. So, okay, if chasing these big dopamine hits and external goals is just a treadmill to nowhere, what's the alternative? What actually works? Well, the answer is in shifting our focus to something surprisingly powerful and something anyone can do. It's a practice simply called delight. And look, let's just be real for a second. Whenever we talk about solutions for happiness, the word gratitude always comes up. And for a lot of us, it can feel, a little forced. Or as the Yale psychologist Dr. Laurie Santos puts it, maybe a little hippy-dippy. It can feel like just another chore, another thing you're supposed to do. But what if we just reframed the whole thing? What if instead of this big, formal idea of gratitude, we just got better at noticing these little moments of delight? It sounds small, but it's a really powerful shift in how you see the world. So what even is a delight? We're not talking about big, grand gestures here. It's the small stuff, the really small sensory things, like that first sip of coffee in the morning. Perfect. Or a song you love coming on the radio unexpectedly. Or just seeing a really, really cute dog walk by. They're quick, they're effortless, they're positive. Basically, a delight is anything that makes you genuinely smile, almost like a reflex, without even thinking about it. And this is such a perfect example of what we mean. Dr. Santos was talking about walking into a studio and seeing a picture of Dr. Andrew Huberman's famous bulldog, Costello. And her immediate gut reaction was just, that's a delight. It wasn't some homework assignment, it was a totally spontaneous moment of joy. And I bet just hearing about it, you're smiling a little bit too. See? That's the power of delight. It's actually contagious. Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, right? But how do you actually turn this idea into a real habit? How do we train our brains to get better at noticing these little bits of joy all around us? It's actually incredibly simple. There are just 3 steps. Step 1, just start paying attention. Be on the lookout for these small sensory moments throughout your day. Step 2, At the end of the day, take 30 seconds and just note down 3 to 5 of them. In your phone, in a journal, whatever. It just makes it real. And then step 3, and this one is really important. Share one of them. Send a quick text to a friend, something like, just saw the cutest dog, total delight, or this song on the radio was awesome, delight. And there's a really good reason for that last step. Because when you share a delight, you're not just reliving it for yourself. You're tapping into the power of social connection. You're literally triggering those other feel-good chemicals like oxytocin and serotonin that we were talking about earlier. Plus, you're creating a tiny positive moment for someone else. It's like it amplifies the good feeling for both of you. Now, I know what you might be thinking. This sounds small, maybe even too simple to actually work. But the science on this is pretty clear. This tiny practice can have a huge effect, and in a surprisingly short amount of time. How short? Just 2 weeks. That's it. There's research from the psychologist Sonia Lyubomirsky that found if you do this practice consistently, you can see a measurable, real shift in your overall well-being in just 14 days. And let's be super clear here. We're not talking about just a temporary little mood boost. We're talking about a significant improvement in your overall satisfaction with life. Just by noticing and writing down these small joys, you are literally, fundamentally, rewiring the way your brain experiences your day-to-day life. So here's the bottom line on why this works. Our brains are naturally wired with what's called a negativity bias. We're built to scan for threats and problems. It's a survival thing. But this simple practice actively fights against that. It retrains your attention to scan for what's good. It shifts your brain's default setting from looking for hassles to looking for joys. And you finally start building that feeling of fulfillment from the inside, instead of always chasing it on the outside. So let's just end on this thought. Right now, as we wrap up, just take a second, look around you, listen. What's one small thing you can notice right now that could count as a delight? Maybe it's the light in the room or a sound outside. Just finding that one thing, well, that's the first step.